Okay, let's get right into it. A massive fundamental shift is underway right now in the United States. You know, artificial intelligence, it used to feel like something out of science fiction, right? Well, not anymore. It's now at the center of this huge, unprecedented regulatory push that is literally set to redefine our entire economy and really our society as a whole.
And look, this isn't some far-off prediction. This is happening as we speak. The rules being debated in state houses and in Washington, D.C. today are going to have very real, direct consequences for how you work, how you communicate, basically how you live your life.
So what does this number 700 actually mean? Well, that is the staggering number of AI-related bills that have been introduced across 45 states in just the last year. We're not talking about a trickle of new laws here. This is a legislative flood.
So, let's call this what it is. America's AI regulation boom. It's a tidal wave of new rules, and it's happening at a blistering pace. To really get a handle on the scale of this, we need to look at the sheer volume of these new rules, because it's happening everywhere, from the local level all the way up to the federal government.
All right, let's break this down. At the federal level, you've got the US AI Action Plan. That thing has over 90 different policy initiatives. And on top of that, 59 new federal AI regulations have already been enacted this year alone. Now, you add that to the nearly 700 bills bubbling up in the states, and the picture becomes crystal clear. This is a massive, nationwide legislative push on a scale we really haven't seen before.
Okay, so with any massive shift like this, there are always going to be winners and losers. It's just inevitable. So the big question we have to ask is, who stands to gain from all this, and who's getting left behind?
So, let's look at the two sides of this coin. On the one hand, the upside is pretty clear for some major players. You've got tech giants like Microsoft, Oracle, and Nvidia lining up for huge government contracts. Hardware companies like Equinix, they're set to benefit from a fire hose of public funding for infrastructure. And for developers, believe it or not, some rules are actually getting more relaxed when it comes to using copyrighted data for training their models. But there's a huge but here. On the flip side, critics are sounding the alarm, and loud. They're warning about jobs disappearing faster than ever, a tidal wave of misinformation, and the rollback of really important diversity and environmental protections. And this isn't just talk. An MIT study is already pointing out that for most companies, the return on investment for these big AI projects is, well, it's not great. It really makes you question the hype.
Now, this isn't just a story about corporations and politicians. Far from it. Away from the boardrooms and the Capitol, there's a real and growing anxiety among everyday Americans. These policy debates are hitting a nerve, tapping into some deep-seated fears about what the future holds. So, what do Americans really think about all of this? When you look at the data, the picture it paints is pretty unambiguous. It's a nation that is deeply, deeply concerned about what's just around the corner.
I mean, just look at this. When it comes to jobs, the number is just striking. 71%. That's a huge majority of Americans who are afraid that AI is going to lead to permanent job losses. This isn't some fringe idea. This is a mainstream kitchen table fear. And believe it or not, the anxiety actually gets even deeper when we start talking about our political life. A staggering 77% of Americans are worried about AI causing major political disruption. And you can bet that's fueled by fears of hyper-realistic misinformation campaigns and what they could do to our democracy.
And then there's another angle to all this public anxiety, the environmental cost. 61% of people are concerned about just how much energy these AI systems are guzzling. We're talking about a massive strain on our power grid, and it raises some really tough questions about sustainability.
Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, the policy debates, but let's bring this right down to earth. How is all of this actually going to affect you? Because this isn't just about big tech companies or what's happening in DC. This is about your daily life.
I want to be really clear about this. This isn't just policy, it's personal. And the effects, well, they're already starting to show up.
First up, let's talk about your social media feed. Right now, companies like TikTok are already cutting their human content moderation teams and handing that job over to AI. And that raises some huge questions, right? Like who or what is deciding what you see, what gets flagged, what gets promoted, and ultimately, how safe are these online spaces we all spend so much time in?
Next, let's talk about your job. Remember that 71% of Americans who fear job displacement? Well, this new regulatory landscape, which is designed to promote AI, could end up accelerating exactly those kinds of workforce shifts. The simple reality is that businesses and employees, we all have to adapt to what's coming. And finally, let's talk about something really tangible. Your utility bills. That 61% of people worried about energy use, they have a really good reason to be. The massive data centers needed to power this AI boom are incredibly thirsty for electricity, and eventually that huge increase in demand on the power grid, well, it could easily get passed right on to you, the consumer.
So, where does all of this leave us? Well, the truth is, we are on a very unsettled road. The next chapter in this whole saga is gonna be messy. It'll be defined by complexity, conflict, but also by opportunity.
So here's what you can expect to see next. First, a whole new market for compliance tools is going to pop up, helping businesses figure out this tangled mess of regulations. That, in turn, is going to create a brand new industry of AI auditors, companies whose whole job is to check these systems for bias and safety. And you can be sure that behind the scenes, the corporate lobbying is going to be absolutely intense, as everyone fights to shape the final rules.
You know, the biggest challenge here in the U.S. is just how fragmented everything is. You've got hundreds of different state bills crashing into a handful of federal rules, and it's creating this chaotic patchwork system. That's definitely going to lead to some serious legal showdowns, but it also creates these little gaps, these openings for clever innovators to jump in.
And that fragmentation is going to define the key battlegrounds for the next few years. You should absolutely expect to see more court battles as companies and states challenge these conflicting rules. Keep an eye out for those quick, agile startups that are specifically designed to take advantage of these regulatory gray areas. And at the end of the day, all of this legal chaos is only going to draw a sharper line between who wins and who loses in this new AI economy.
So the key takeaway is this. The future of AI isn't some abstract idea. It's being hammered out in legal documents right now. And that leaves a really big question for all of us. What's your biggest concern? Is it about jobs? Is it about our ability to tell what's real anymore? Or is it about who holds all the power?
This story is moving incredibly fast, and things are changing every single day. If you want to stay ahead of it, make sure you subscribe for more explainers on the critical trends that are shaping all of our futures.